Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guest was the second place finisher at this past weekend's 2018 IFBB Pittsburgh Pro Classic Championships. Man, I'm talking about Devine Wilson. Welcome.
How you doing, Dave?
Controversial, matchup at this past weekend's event, Devine. I want you to walk us through what happened. It was you and Steve Lorius, the last two men standing there. You were battling it out at prejudging. You were battling it out at the finals. Very close show. 1 point decision. Steve Lorius emerged victorious. Talk me through the whole show and exactly what happened.
It was a pretty good show. I mean, going into the show, I knew it was going to pretty much be me and him. I'm a very confident guy, and I knew I was going to bring a pretty good, package. And I knew that he was the guy to watch out for. He showed up, I showed up. We both won our games, and I mean, at the end of the day, they made a decision. I took second, he took first. He looks good. I look good. But he won. So
now, I thought it was a great matchup. You guys have different type of physiques. I equated your physique more to a Kai Green physique. You're a little more unconventional in the way you hit your poses, but very, very, very good conditioning, very good separation in your muscles. Like your eyes get drawn to your physique real good like that. You obviously get the longer hair, and you're definitely more, I guess you could say, more of an actor on stage. More, you bring drama to the stage. You bring like energy to the stage. Has this been always like your personality?
I would say yes, but it took a while for me to get comfortable on stage. Last year I did about 3 pro shows, and all of them, I placed well in. Every guy that I went up against pretty much was top 5 at the Olympia. So I did pretty good last year, but last year I definitely wasn't comfortable on stage. I'm not a shy guy, but it was just a different environment, So I just had to get used to it and feel comfortable. And now I feel, more comfortable.
You won your class at the Nationals in 2016. Last year you had a great year. You placed second at 2 shows. You had a third place. I remember seeing you at a couple shows. You brought a great physique. What attracted you in the first place? Before we get back to the Pittsburgh show, I want to take a little step back first. I want to talk about how you got into classic physique, because I know you started in bodybuilding. What made you decide, hey, this is the division for me?
So it's funny you said that. I guess I look bigger than what I really am. When I first did bodybuilding, I was 205, and I did really well. I did a few local shows in Baltimore, won first place overall, and then I did my last show. I took second in bodybuilding, but both of them qualified me for nationals. And I believe in doing my do my diligence, right? So I did my research, and I saw that the guys was huge at nationals, and I'm like, that's big, and I really want to get that big,
Right.
So I stopped competing for 2 years. And then it came out with Classic. So when it came out with Classic, I spoke to a few judges from Baltimore, and they all thought I had too much muscle for Classic. And I refused to do bodybuilding. So, they told me that they thought that I was going to have too much muscle and I wasn't going to place well. And I did it anyway.
Right.
I went to, I think it's the Maximum Muscle or Max Muscle in Virginia. I won overall there. And then a week later, I went to Miami and I took first in my class.
Right. Well, obviously, the thing about classic that the people don't realize, it's not, if you can make the weight class, they judge you like bodybuilding. So, having too much muscle is a good thing if you can make the weight class.
Right.
So it really is bodybuilding. It's just it's a weight height restricted bodybuilding division. Right. Obviously, shape is important, and we know you got that. Now, for a bodybuilder to say, hey, I'm not going to compete if I got to compete in bodybuilding, that's pretty weird, because a lot of guys would be like, look, I'm going to keep trying. Even this is my look, I'll stick with it. But you just basically said, hey, I'm not doing this if I have to get bigger. That's a pretty strong stance to take.
Right. I mean, so I'm 5'11". I got up to about 245 at one point.
Right.
And felt so unhealthy. I was breathing extremely hard. I start snoring, and I was like, I would have to, for my height, because I'm pretty tall for a bodybuilder,
Yeah.
I'll have to come on stage at about 240, 250. So
Right.
that means I got to walk around at about like 290, 300 pounds. I'm like, that's just way too much for me. So
Right.
now in Classic, I walk around at about 230,
Sure.
235 max, come down to probably about 215 or so, 213.
Right.
So to me, that's perfect, for my height. Like I said, I believe in, outside of shows, still having a nice physique and not being overly big. And I feel like that's what Classic brings.
Right. Now, when I look at your Instagram, I see a lot of modeling pictures on there, a lot of artistic type stuff. Do you do that I know that's not your job for a living, but is this stuff that you do on the side?
Absolutely. So the reason why I got into fitness was to go more so the fitness modeling route. So that's definitely something that I'm looking more towards. I love competing, but competing is just one area, for you to be successful in when it comes to fitness. I kind of feel like some guys that don't compete are a lot more successful in fitness than actual competitors. Competitors, we just compete, but you don't make much from it.
No,
And
no
you
money.
got some guys that's just big on Instagram and they're successful,
Right. Well, some of the pictures are very risque, Some of them are like, borderline nude pictures. Do you take any flack for that from anyone?
I have a lot of male friends that tell me that they stopped following me.
I'm sure the girls love it, but
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about let's talk about your job, because you have a real job that you actually go to every day, which is smart, because that makes the bodybuilding kind of like just a hobby, and something you can do and have fun with, not have a lot of pressure on you, even though maybe in the future it might become something. How did you get into engineering?
So it was a long story. I grew up in Baltimore. Wasn't really big into academics. So after high school, I became a correctional officer. And, I like nice things. And I met two guys when I was around about 19, and they both was engineers. I mean, they had like Ferraris, made out homes, right? So after I met those guys, probably about 2 weeks later, I enrolled into college. And that was really like how it started,
Wow.
I went to Morgan for about 4.5 years, and then I graduated 2 years ago, and now I am an engineer for JP Morgan.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now let's get back to the show.
Correct.
The show is close. Obviously, we saw that we just had some footage up on there. We were watching you guys pose down against each other. I mean, my analysis was in the video that I put up on RXMuscle was that I thought your conditioning was better. I thought your posing was more dynamic. I thought his shape and structure, no one could deny that he's got an awesome shape and structure. And once again, it goes down to the coin flip, what you like better. When they call that decision out, you were visibly disappointed. I mean, we see it on video. I mean, you can't get through the poses for the pictures. You actually walked off at some point. Talk to us about what you were feeling at that time, and what emotions were going through you.
So, anybody that know me will tell you that I am a very, very passionate person. Anything that I do, I give it 110%. And, I was pacing in the back before they even called out second place. And the reason why I was pacing is because I kind of felt like I was at this point so many times. Like I'm so close to getting that first place. And, after prejudging, looking on social media, all of the fans, everybody just keep telling me you won.
Right.
I'm like, man, thank you, I appreciate it, but I won't be ecstatic until the judges tell me that.
Right.
Right. And when it came down to second, I just got emotional. Steve is a good guy. We talked several times. He's a good guy. He got an amazing physique. But I come to win. So when I'm on stage, I'm not your friend. Like after the first place, of my award, I apologize backstage for my actions because, like I said, it could be my brother, it could be my father, but if we're competing, we're competing.
Right. No, I understand.
Moment, I'm not really your friend, But afterwards, I apologize because he don't deserve that, right? It wasn't his decision.
Right.
The judges chose the guy who they thought was the best that day, and they gave it to him.
And it wasn't unanimous. Some of the judges voted for you because it was a 7 points to 8 point decision. So there was a 1 point swing. That means one judge liked him better than you. So that That should, right there, that should give you a lot of confidence in yourself that a lot of these judges thought that you did deserve to win.
Right, right. I mean, it means a lot, you know. Um, I kind of feel like, I know for me, you know, I know some guys, you know, I'm not gonna say take the easier route, but it's other shows you can do, you know, and you can go into it and you can pretty much get a win if you're a top competitor, you know.
Right.
I like doing the big show, you know, because I kind of feel like that's where you can really, really challenge yourself. And if you come off on top, it kind of like gives you an idea of where you're going to place at the
Of course.
Olympia. Like, where you're going to place pretty well if you beat some top-notch guys,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And every show I do, pretty much, I go up against George Peterson, Chris Bumstead, you know, and now Steve, you know? And all these guys are going to place top 5 route at the Olympia.
Right. Well, I know the goal is to get to the Olympia, so the question remains, next week, you know, the New York Pro's coming up. Are you going to be there?
So I'm like 85% yes. But the 15% of me, I'm not going to lie, like, you know, I sacrifice a lot. I mean, to come in condition to me, you can tell someone sacrifice, right? And every single show I bring condition. And like mentally, I'm kind of like not there. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to like get back to that point of motivation, you know?
Right. Well, it's good when you only have like a week or two to have to do it. If it would be a different story if it was like 6 weeks from now. You know, it's not like you have to really stay on your diet that much longer.
Correct.
Talk to me a little bit about the division. What do you like about the division? What don't you like? What do you think could be fixed?
What do I like about the division? I like the height to weight ratio. I kind of feel like, for the most part, we're all complete. Some people got slightly bigger legs, like slightly bigger up top. But for the most part, you know, you can't have a guy that's 250 pounds, you know, 5'4".
Right.
You know, so I like that it's kind of even. As far as dislikes, I'm not going to really say that I have any dislikes about the division. I just wish that we had a more clear understanding of what the judges want. So, for example, like, you know, someone hit me up yesterday and it was like, Devine, your legs are usually like really big in the off season, right? But because I bring condition, you're gonna lose some of that.
Sure.
Right? But if you want me to bring legs, I cannot do as much cardio and I cannot eat as clean and bring bigger legs. You know, so I just need an understanding of what it is that you want. Not one show have I reached out to the judges yet to figure out why do I keep coming in second. Now, I try to find some emails to reach out to some people to figure out what is it that I have to do to take first place.
That best thing you can do is call Steve Weinberg out. He judged you. You know, he'll be the guy to ask because he'll tell you outright. You know, he doesn't lie. He doesn't hold back anything. I think, you know, the great thing about you is that you know you were only 212 pounds on stage. For your height, you can still weigh another 8 pounds. So you got 8 more pounds of muscle to grow. You know, in that class. That's huge.
And I love to put it in my legs. Like, if I can, like, you know, put it anywhere, I would love to put 8 pounds to my legs. I kind of feel like up top, you know, I can stand right next to anyone.
Yeah. Right.
I kind of feel like George Peterson and Breon probably had the best backs, and I feel like I can stand next to them. Yeah. You know, when it comes to legs, you know, I can bring them up a little bit. They don't look bad, but if it was an area that I can bring up, it would be those.
Well, what you have as a gift is that you have the ability on stage to present your physique in such a way as that you show off your strengths and you kind of hide your weaknesses, which is also pretty good. I didn't really notice your legs were really that. I mean, yeah, they could be a little bigger, but I didn't notice that they were weak or anything like that. So the way you pose in your mandatories, they look good, and I think that's another advantage you have over a lot of these other guys. You know, this guy Steve Lorius, who beat you by 1 point, is probably you know one of the premier guys in the division. I think you two guys have to be considered, you know, top 6 Olympia material for sure.
Correct.
So the key for you would be to get back to that Olympia. You know, you really need to get a win under your belt, you know, right prior to the Olympia to guarantee you go there.
Correct. I know last year, I don't know if you know it now, so I qualified last year.
Oh, you didn't go though?
So I prepared for it, but 2 days prior to me getting there, the flight got canceled.
Oh, man, right, because we had the Florida thing going on, right?
Correct. So they couldn't get me there in time for weigh-ins. So I kind of feel like this year I got to get there to redeem myself. I mean, I feel like last year I placed really well. Yeah. You know, I definitely feel like I look better than last year.
Right.
One thing that I do different now is that this show here, I only prep for about 5 to 6 weeks, Dave. That's all.
Wow. So you're walking around. You're walking around very lean all year round, is what you're telling me.
Correct. Right. So I walk around 9% body fat all year round. So I didn't do any cardio this show, and I think that that's why my physique looked totally different than before. I kind of feel like I always flatten out. I used to do like 2 hours of cardio. You know, and some people are like, stop. That's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
But I'm like, bring in condition. But this show, it was so hard for me because I tried so many times, like to step on like the treadmill or something, and I just stopped and said, Devine, just stick right to the plan, right? No cardio. And I like the package that I've run.
What do you think about Laureus's decision to do the 212 division at the New York Pro?
So we talked backstage, and I told him that regardless of what happened, I was going to do the New York.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that he wasn't doing it because of his best friend. So I didn't know that they already discussed him doing the 2x12 division.
Yeah.
He looks great, but I kind of feel like the guys at 212, I mean, they some short guys with a lot of muscles. So
yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work out, right? To me, he fits better in Classic than 212.
Yeah. I agree.
But, you know, he said he's doing it because he want to do the show, and his best friend is doing Classic. So
like you said, like you told me, there's no friends up on that stage. You could be best friends until we get up there, and then it's battle time, right?
And that's how I feel. I mean,
I feel the same way.
And we made that pact that we're not going to compete. I would do that, right? But I still believe that, you know, like I said, if he did make it, if his best friend did make it, both you guys will be at the Olympia.
Right.
At that point, like, okay, you my friend, but now we competing, you know?
Right.
So anyway. To me, it's no way.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing because they're both on this. I don't know if they're best friends as much as they are, you know, they use the same coach. My friend Justin coaches both of them. So, but like you said, you got to do what's, you know, best for you. I mean, New York is a big title. I think whoever wins New York has to be considered one of the, you know, premier threats for the Olympia come September. So I think it's a good place to showcase your talent for sure.
Correct.
You know those New York fans. They let you know when you look good and they let you know when you look bad. And
that's what everyone told me. Right. That's what everyone.
If you look good there, no one's going to screw you out of any placings because the New York crowd goes nuts, you know.
You're right. We're going to see that.
That's
right.
I
mean, so, you know, I'm going to most likely do it. I have a lot of people, you know, reaching out to me and telling me, like, don't stop now.
Yeah.
You know, leave that last show in the past. You know, go to New York Pro, get the win.
Yeah.
Right?
You're in Delaware. You could drive there, man. Come on.
Correct. Like 2.5 hours away.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what, Devine? I thought you looked real good. I'm sorry there was a little, you guys had a little mishap, but I understand emotions get the best of you sometimes, and I'm sure everyone has forgiven you. I know you put out an apology on Instagram, and you talked to some people, the judges backstage, so I wouldn't worry about that. Like I said, you know, we like to see passion, and we like to see people who are energized and charged on stage, and you bring a lot of energy to the sport, so I think we're going to see some good things from you in the future.
Correct. Thank you, sir.
All right. And that is going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and we'll see you next time.